Have you ever finished a crochet project, started to list it for sale, and then you get this pit in your stomach and you think, I can't charge that much for that, can I? If you've ever experienced that, then this video is for you. We're going to break down the simplest pricing strategy for your crochet work without guilt, without guessing, and without any fancy tools, so you can actually feel confident about what you earn. If you're new here, hi, my name's Brandy. I'm the creator of Sunny Stitchworks, and this channel is all about crochet amigurumi and crochet business. And I am on a mission to help other crochet artists like myself turn their crochet hobby into a profitable and cozy crochet business, so you can actually make a living doing what you love. If that sounds like the dream to you, then follow my channel for more and we can grow on our crochet business journeys together. Let's get into it. Number 1, track your time. The old adage is time is money, and that could not be more true. When you start a crochet project, you need to track your time. You can use the timer on your phone. You can jot down the time that you started on a sticky note. You can just mentally keep track of what time you started and what time you finish. However you do it, just keep track of all the time you've taken creating this project. Now, don't forget things like when you sew on your parts for your amigurumi, you embroider on facial features. If you're shipping the item, don't forget the time it takes you to pack the item, drop it off at the post office. And if this is a custom item you're creating for a commission for someone, don't forget to keep track of the time it takes you to communicate with that customer, answer their questions, and all of the above. It all adds up to your finished project, and it should all go into your pricing. That brings us to number 2, which is to set a specific hourly rate for yourself. I know if you're just starting out, that can sound a little daunting, but it is extremely important, and it is the best way to strategize your pricing. So I always recommend starting out at least like $15 an hour. I don't think anyone here wants to make less than $15 an hour. And I know a lot of us feel like with crochet, we would do it for less maybe, but this is a business. If we're going to treat this like a real business, you need to think about it as a real business. So start yourself off somewhere you feel comfortable. If you've been doing this longer, you can certainly go a little higher, but start somewhere. Let's say the project we are doing took 3 hours. Let's start at $15 an hour, and that puts us at $45. Now remember, this is the baseline that we start with, is always your time. Our materials are still going to be added on to this, but the big thing here is not to undervalue yourself. Your time is important, and you can't start off a business right if you're undervaluing your time and your effort that gets put into these projects. So if you're really feeling a little unsure about this, you can ask yourself the question, what do I feel an hour of my creative time is worth to me? You know, ask yourself, would $10 be worth an hour of my time creatively? If not, then you're going to need to go up a little bit. And if so, and you feel comfortable with that, you can start there, but just respect yourself, respect your own time, because it is very precious. That brings us to number 3, which is keeping track of your material costs. This is going to be anything you physically use. Your yarn, your stuffing, your safety eyes, just anything it normally takes you for every project you do. And those are pretty much the basics. So keep track of those things. You know, for yarn, you can keep your yarn labels every time you go through a skein, or, you know, just keep track of every single one you buy. Even if you aren't using it, you want to know how much you're spending, number 1. But to calculate what goes into a specific project, take let's say we bought a skein of yarn for $5, and for this particular project we use about half of it. Well, that's going to be $2.50. So you're going to want to track that, and that's going to get added on top of your hourly rate. And then the same thing for safety eyes. Let's say you specifically bought a set of safety eyes that was $3. Then you're going to add that on top of that as well. So if we had 45 for our 3 hours, then we're also going to have $2.50 plus the 3 on top of that. And then you're going to want to calculate in the amount of money you're spending on packaging materials if you're shipping your items. So if you buy on Amazon a set of small boxes, and Amazon gives you a little thing underneath that'll say this equates to $1 a box, which is very helpful. So keep track of that. Just really take inventory of every physical thing that you are using and add it up. And I feel the need to say this because I've heard this question come up recently, is if you find the yarn that you normally use on sale, I don't calculate that. I always calculate with the regular prices. That gets really confusing down the road if you start to change your prices based on your yarn was on sale or something like that. So I don't recommend doing that. But just know that every single thing, every single dollar that goes into making this product and getting it to the customer counts. Number 4 would be keeping track of any selling fees that you might have. So if you sell on Etsy, you're going to want to calculate the Etsy fees that go into that, the listing creation, and the fee that there is when you sell an item. So make sure to always embed that in your price from the beginning so you're not losing money on those. And this also goes for shipping. So I personally like to use Pirate Ship and then just schedule someone to pick something up from my front door. So I can go on there and I have a little scale that I can weigh the box, and it says it weighs this much, so it's going to cost this much to ship. Calculate in your shipping label costs, calculate anything associated with that, just so you really can feel like, yes, you are going to make a profit. You are not giving anything away for free. We want to make sure that we're taking this seriously. And another thing I really like to do is for shipping fees, especially on places like Etsy, I really like to embed those into my listing cost. People psychologically love to see free shipping on there. Even if the next listing charges a little bit less for the item and they charge the same for shipping, but it says they're shipping, there's a psychological thing there that people are more likely to buy something with free shipping. But you don't want to eat that yourself. You do want the customer to pay for it at the end of the day. So keep track of all those things where your fees come up and make sure that they're also embedded. Number 5 is to find a way to keep track of all this. So you want a tracking system. And this could be as simple as just keeping a notepad where you're scribbling things down as you go and you're realizing, oh, I've purchased this and I've purchased this. Or you could have a color-coded spreadsheet. Every brain works differently, and whatever works best for you may not work the best for someone else. So play around with it, and if you do something for a while that you feel like isn't necessarily working the best for you, switch it up. Just make sure you're still keeping track of things in the meantime as you're trying to switch to whatever method you feel like works best for you. So this pretty much covers the very basics of having a system for your pricing for your crochet work. And if you still feel unsure about maybe a certain item, ask yourself this question: would I crochet this again for this price? If the answer is no, then your price is too low and you should maybe take a couple steps back and reconsider a few things and start over, see where you get until you feel comfortable. This is all about valuing yourself and valuing your own creative efforts. So never forget that. And if you got anything good out of this video, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more tips about how to run a confident and cozy crochet business. And don't forget, you got this and you are worth every stitch. See you next time.